everyone. Welcome back to Kids in the Kitchen. I am so happy to have you all back with me today, and we are going to be creating a fun twist on Taco Tuesday. Have you ever heard that before? Taco Tuesday? So we're going to be making tacos, but different than what you might be thinking of. So remember, as we always start, what do we do first? Hair back, and we wash our hands, right? Because we use our hands a lot of times when we're touching the food and we don't want to pass our germs along to anyone else that we're sharing our food with. So at this time, if you haven't washed your hands and put your hair back, now's the time to do it. Ready? Let's go wash our hands. All right, good job. Got your hands all washed. We're all clean. Okay, so we are going to be making tacos today that are little and fun and full of great flavor. They are fruit tacos with cinnamon sugar shells. Crazy, right? And we're going to talk a little bit why the fruit we're putting in there is so good for us. So today what we're going to start with is preheating your oven to 325 degrees. So we're going to preheat our oven and we're going to get our shells ready first. And they're going to cook while we make the fruit filling. Ready? All right. So you're preheating your oven, and then today we're going to be making our shells out of a few different things depending on what you got your hands on, right? Or you have at home. So you can use, these are called wonton wrappers, and they look like this. They come in a package like this. You might have these, and a lot of times these are used in Asian dishes, but we can do so many things with these. So you might have wonton wrappers to use. You might have a tortilla or just a wrap of any kind we can use. So I'm going to show you each way because sometimes we have different stuff at home, right? So you don't have to cut anything if it's a wonton wrapper. It's the perfect shape the way it is. But if we have a tortilla or a wrap, we're going to make it a square first. So all you do to make that a square is cut a little bit off of each spot here. We're going to make it a square first. And I just cut the rounded edges. So now I have a big square, okay? From here, we're gonna make 4 little squares so that they're about the size of those wonton wrappers. So you'll cut it in half, and then in half again. So now I have, look at my tortilla or wrap has now become squares. So you're gonna do that if you don't have the wonton wrappers. That's how you're going to do your tortillas now. So remember, you just cut off the curved edges to make a square. And don't throw away those edges because I'm going to show you something you can do with those you can use for another time. Okay, so you made a square with that next tortilla, if that's what you have, right? And then in half, and in half again. So we have squares. How's it going? Good? There we go. Look at that. Perfect. Okay. From here, these are going to become our taco shells. So we're going to use a muffin tin, but upside down. So we're going to be using this side of the muffin tin, not where you usually put muffins. So turn your muffin tin upside down and just set it to the side for right now because we have to prepare our shells first. So we are going to put cinnamon sugar on these shells to give them a little bit of sweetness. So what you need to do is we need to make cinnamon sugar, right? Right. So get a small mixing bowl. Perfect. And now you want to do 3 tablespoons. Remember, we use our big spoon with a big T for tablespoons. 3 tablespoons. Perfect. To 1 tablespoon of the cinnamon sugar, because cinnamon, remember, is pretty strong. So 1 tablespoon to 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now, there are many different types of sugar we can use. You can use regular sugar, or a lot of times I like to use coconut sugar. Have you ever seen a coconut? Well, yes, they're usually, right? We see them in the Caribbean or warm places, or we've had coconut milk. But there is really delicious sugar that's natural, comes right out of that coconut. So you can always use coconut sugar too, which is a great alternative. All right, stir up that cinnamon sugar. Make sure that there's no big pockets of cinnamon. And there's mine right there. Looks good. Okay, now we're gonna put that on our taco shells. So lay out your shells, however, but if you use the wonton wrappers, that's great too. You can put those out. Whatever you're using, lay them out flat. Now, what you're gonna do is you can brush them with a little bit of water, or just spray them with a little bit of olive oil, really lightly, not a lot. Just enough that that cinnamon sugar is going to stick. So now you're going to take a little spoon, take the cinnamon sugar, and do you hear that? Just dust it right on there. You don't need a lot, just a little. And this is just going to give those shells a little bit of sweetness. Great. So I'll show you one, just like that. Now you're going to take this shell, and look how we're going to put it in here. You're going to fill these spots with the shells. So you just place them right in. Doesn't have to be perfect. And this is going to create your mini taco shells. So you just take them, push them in, just like that. So I'm going to make ones with the wraps, with tortilla, so that you can see, and the wonton wrappers, so you can see how you can use any of these things to make these fruit tacos. So fill up all of those spots with your wraps. All right, so this is what we have so far. Right, looks pretty good. Now, these are gonna cook really fast, so you're gonna put them in your oven that's preheated to 325 for 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, we're gonna check them, and we're gonna see if they've started getting a little brown. They're not gonna be hard yet until you take them out. So let's put them in 325 and set your timer for 5 minutes. Here we go. Okay, you have your timer started? All right, we will check them in a few minutes. Now I have some done so you can see what we're gonna be working with here. This is what they turn out like. Isn't that pretty cool? You can create all these little taco shells so easy. Aren't those awesome? Okay, but what are we gonna put in it? We need filling, right? So we are gonna make a fruit filling. Pretty cool. This is where we're gonna learn to dice and chop some of our fruits and vegetables, or not vegetables today, fruit. So I have strawberries. I have some washed blueberries. We're gonna put those in there. Okay, I have an apple, a pear, and some cuties. They're little oranges, or you can use mandarin oranges or any oranges you can get a hold of. And that's what we're gonna start with. So what you need to do is get your knife. You always want your fruit washed because they've been touched by a lot of people, and sometimes they even have chemicals on them from how we grow them to make the insects stay away. So when you get them home, you always want to wash them. So we don't want to eat this part, right? So I want you just to cut the top of that strawberry right off. Okay, and then you can cut the little tip off the bottom and do that to all of the strawberries. We're going to use 4 to 5 strawberries. So cut those two, the top and the bottom, right off, and we're going to keep the inside just the way it is to start making our filling. Make sure that you have a bowl close by that we can start putting our ingredients in. I'm going to use a bowl about this size, just a medium bowl. From here, so now I have these cleaned. These berries are cleaned and the tops and bottoms are off. So all you're going to do now is, remember we talked about mincing, dicing, and chopping. There's a difference, right? Mincing is really, really, really small pieces, okay? We want to just dice these or chop these. So it's a little bit bigger, the pieces we're going to use. So I'm going to cut my strawberries so there's a flat edge, so I can put the flat edge down on my cutting board so it doesn't roll all over, because then it gets dangerous if I'm going to cut myself. So flat edge down, and I am going to cut pieces of strawberry that are about this size. Okay, you don't want them too big because they won't fit in those mini taco shells, right? So from there you're going to put those in your bowl as you chop them so that your cutting board doesn't get too crowded. Okay, so you want them to be diced, not minced. And sometimes this takes a little bit of time to do all this cutting. This is a great time to share the work with someone that you have in the kitchen with you. And be very careful with our knives. Remember, always, it's never a race. It's always better to be careful than be in a hurry in the kitchen. Anytime we're in a hurry in the kitchen, accidents seem to happen, right? Things spill or we make a mess, which messes are fine if they're in control. But if you're making and you're tripping all over things, you can get hurt because we have a lot of hot things and sharp things in the kitchen. So we're going to finish up those strawberries. And then we're going to be close to checking on our wrappers, right? And our taco shells. All right, from there, if you have really big blueberries, you can cut them in half, or you can put a cup of blueberries or a half cup, depending on how you feel, how you like them, right in that mix. So right now we have blueberries and strawberries. Next, let's peel our cuties. So a lot of times things peel pretty easy, the cuties do, but if they don't, you might have to start a little section of it with a knife. And you just want to put a little slit in the skin, just like this. And that's just going to help you get under the skin to start peeling. So that's my timer for 5 minutes. So I'm going to take them out and we're going to look at them together to see if they're ready. All right, so this is what mine look like right now. They're starting to get a little teeny bit brown, but not enough. So I'm going to put them back in and set the timer for 3 more minutes. Okay, so go look at yours. They're not going to be hard yet. I know that, but are they getting brown or are they still real white? If they are, let's put them back in for 3 more minutes. All right, so now we're back. We can use those 3 minutes to get our cuties going. So from these, I'm gonna make these sections. I'm gonna chop my cuties now, and they're gonna look like that. So let's get those going, and you wanna use 2 cuties or 1 big orange. And the juice from this will help also. It's gonna go through that whole dish of fruit filling. It's gonna be so delicious. Now, this is great to have even left over, this fruit salsa. So don't worry if it feels like I'm making a lot and I don't have a lot of shells right now made. It keeps really well in your fridge for a couple days, which is pretty awesome because there are so many things we can do with it. And I'm going to show you, like I said, if you did have leftover wraps, when we cut those squares, how we can use those later on. Because it's always good to use food in different ways that's left over, because food waste, I don't like that. There's always things we can do instead of throwing food out, right? Because we are so lucky to have the food we have, because a lot of places in the world, it's hard to get all these foods that we have, right? And sometimes we just take that for granted and we throw stuff out without even thinking about it. But there's usually something you can do with even your leftovers, or what you would consider your scraps. All right, so we have blueberries, we have strawberries, and we have oranges. So lastly, you can put an apple in if you have it, pear if you have it, kiwi, whatever other fruits you'd really like. I'm gonna cut and use half an apple and dice it pretty small. So that it fits in our shells. Perfect. How's it going? Good? All right. Be careful with those knives. I know you've been practicing now for a few weeks since you've been joining me in here, but you never can be too careful because it only takes a second and then that really hurts. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of my pear in. And if you don't love some of these fruits or these aren't your favorite flavors, you can leave out the ones you don't really like. But sometimes it's really good to try new things. Okay, so I have pear, I have apple, I have oranges, blueberries, strawberries. And what's that sound? Yep, that's my wrappers. So I'm gonna go grab those now. Okay, so mine are ready. Do you see how they got brown? Just a little bit of brown. Then I know those edges are all ready. Cool, right? Now they won't be super hard right now. They might just be a little soft still. They will harden as they cool. So you can just leave them alone. If any of them got real closed like this is the time you can ask a helper to kind of separate them so that you have enough space to put your filling in. Sometimes they close up a little on us. So from here, all I want you to do is that dish is just gonna set aside, and they let it rest, they say. But what does resting mean? It just means we're kind of hanging out, right? So we just want these to hang out. That's all you gotta do, so that's easy, right? So set those aside and let those rest for now. So our filling, we gotta finish the filling. So right now we have all of our diced fruit right in there. So you now, again, this is kind of a choice. I put some canned crushed pineapple in mine. So if you have this, or you have a fruit cup that is diced peaches, those are great to put in there as well. So if you have any of those things, let's open it up. And you don't want to put all the liquid in there because it would get too mushy. So you can strain it or drain it, or you can just take a spoon, just like that, and let the liquid just stay in the container, okay? So we are gonna put, if you have crushed pineapple, we're gonna put 3 tablespoons. Now remember, that's the big T, right? Big T. Hi, Cam. Big spoon, 3 tablespoons, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna put 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. What does lemon juice do? Lemon juice is acidic, so it balances out the sweetness, but also it helps with that browning when you cut fruit really far ahead of time and it gets real brown and looks kind of yucky. That's from the oxygen hitting it, and there's a chemical reaction. The lemon juice helps that with the acidity. So just 1 teaspoon of that, okay? And now we're gonna add a little bit of sweetness to ours. So you're just gonna take from there that small teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of sugar or coconut sugar, and stir that right in to your mixture. So I'm gonna use coconut sugar, just like that, and stir it in. Now, we have our filling all made. So you want that to sit, let it stir, let it go together here, let it, all of those flavors mix in, okay? So we have that right there, it's ready to go. But what do you put on tacos sometimes? On the top. It's white, I'll give you a hint. Sour cream. Do we want to put sour cream on a fruit taco? No, but it's kind of fun to make something that looks like sour cream that adds to your dish that tastes delicious. So we are going to make a topping with Greek yogurt. So all you need, and honey. So we're going to use honey, Greek yogurt, and vanilla. I'm going to open my honey. It's brand new. Okay. So you are going to put 1, let me get the big tablespoon out. So you can do 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt or 1/4 of a cup. It's up to you. So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. We are going to do 1 tablespoon of honey. Put that right in that same bowl. Vanilla extract. If you have this with you, great. Otherwise, you don't need it. It just adds a little bit of a different flavor into our pretend sour cream. And you are just going to do 1/4 teaspoon. It's really tiny. Put that in there. Okay. All you're going to do now is stir that up. So that just makes a little bit of a sauce that we're going to put on top. If it feels too thick, you can add a tiny bit of water to it to make it a little thinner so that it's not quite as thick, that it's easier to drizzle on top of your tacos. But mine seems pretty good, just like that. So I'm going to leave that. Now, do you remember we were having our taco shells rest? So while they were resting, what I wanted to talk about is why are berries and these fruits so good for us? We're going to talk a little bit about that they are full of antioxidants, okay? What does that do for us? Inside of our bodies, a lot of times there's so much going on, and there's things called free radicals, and they get kind of crazy, and sometimes they cause us not to feel great, or they can hurt some of our insides and our cells that make up our body. Things like berries calm that all down, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Have you ever had a snow globe? Yeah? You shake it up and it looks crazy, right? Stuff's going everywhere, but then it all settles down. That's what these antioxidants do for some of the things in our body. So it's awesome to keep including these things in our diet and in what we eat all the time, because all the time our body needs help sometimes calming down inside. So think of that next time you're having berries, and you can pass that knowledge along to other people too. All right, you ready to make some tacos? I am too. All right, so now your shells are cool. Right? And they're probably hard, and they'll keep their shape just like this. Pretty neat, huh? Yeah. So you just need a smaller spoon. You're gonna take some filling. You might wanna mix it up one more time. You can always taste the filling to see if it's sweet enough for you, or you can add a little bit of sweetness with honey or with a little bit more of the coconut sugar. I'm gonna take the filling and it's gonna go right inside of my shells. Oop, I lost one. All right. So do you see that so far? Then I'm gonna put a little bit of this topping on. And there we go. Look at that. You can always add a little bit of cinnamon sugar on top to finish it off. How cute is that? You have a mini fruit taco that's full of healthy antioxidants, right? So you're just gonna continue to do that as you go along. So you take your next shell and you're going to fill that one up. And it's okay that each one might have a little bit different fillings, right? Because it's okay, just a little bit different. So from here, then you're gonna put that little bit of sour cream, pretend sour cream on top, a little bit of cinnamon sugar, and you got another taco. All right, so here's an example of if you just use the tortilla. See, it came out just the same as the wonton wrappers. So you can really use any wraps you have at your house. It doesn't have to be exact, right? And this is an easy thing to adjust depending on what you have, if you want a really quick snack at the end of the day even, or midday. Because it's Taco Tuesday. We can have them anytime. So then you just line those up on a plate. You have a delicious, healthy snack. Now remember I said, keep these, right? All these little edges. Because what do you think we can do with these? Yeah, something pretty cool. You ready for this? All you're gonna do, cut those in half. Okay, so now we have pieces like this that look like tortilla chips. Spray them with a little bit of olive oil. You can put salt on them to make them for regular salsa or to scoop up a taco salad, or put cinnamon sugar on them, and then you just scoop your fruit salsa. So you just bake them at 325 flat on parchment paper for 5 minutes. Take them out, let them rest, and then you're gonna have homemade tortilla chips. Pretty cool. No food waste. You can use things in so many different ways, but I would love to see how your fruit tacos turned out. So as you make them, I would love to see a picture of them and let me know how you like them. So thank you so much for joining me for Kids in the Kitchen. We will be back on Thursday making some delicious spaghetti and meatballs. So don't miss that. Make today a great day for a victory and enjoy Taco Tuesday. Thumbs up. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.